So you started out with a little flower shop on the high street.
Yeah, we had a bigger flower shop, and Jane set up to do flowers and ceremonies, and then she put coffins amongst the plants, and people came and they wanted more and more funerals than weddings or bar mitzvahs or anything. So we gradually got more and more drawn into that, and then we started to call ourselves funeral advisors. And we rented mortuary space from other funeral directors when we needed it. So at first they did all the body stuff and we did just the funeral arranging, and then we started doing the body things ourselves, looking after people, but using other people's premises. And then 3 years ago we found this premises, so we stopped using other people and we set up our own place with our own mortuary.
So you're funeral directors?
Yeah, so we're funeral directors and funeral celebrants. Yeah. And our idea is not to just do funerals, a bit like we were talking about really, but try and be a hub where people can find things to help with bereavement care. So, you might want a bereavement counsellor, or you might want to talk to somebody pre-death, about broader issues than funeral planning. Mm-hmm. So we're trying to put together a group of people who can fulfill different needs for people. The river is just there. A lot of funeral directors have a little room into which the coffin is put, very often without any windows. And it's a really claustrophobic kind of place to be in. So we like to use this big room, but we section it off by using these cloths, so that you've got a sense of space, but you've also got a sense of being enclosed by something at the same time. And then what we do is they come into. So a family might come into this area, and we'd have the coffin here on trestles. We'd normally put it on low trestles so that they can sit and still see into the coffin. The coffin isn't up here; it's down there. And they come here and have an open coffin usually, and sit with their person, and they can use the kitchen and make themselves teas and coffees, or we'll make them teas and coffees. Some people stay for quite an extended period of time. In the winter they might have a wood burner on, have the candles lit, and we want them to feel like this is a homely place for them to come and sit with their person. And it works very well from that point of view. People get a lot out of being here. We also use this room for ceremonies, so we take these drapes down. You can get 50 people in this room. Got some simple wooden slatted seats for them, and so they can have a funeral ceremony with the coffin present in here. And again, the idea is that they can sort of create a relaxed atmosphere. So the walls got lots of gaps and things, so people use these to hang boards of pictures and photographs and things. So what we encourage them to do is to make the space their own as much as possible, and to decorate it how they want it. Sometimes we've got a big it's actually a paella pan, but also we'll put a fire on the patio, on the terrace outside as well, if people want it. So the idea, just settees and cushions and comfort is what we're looking for. And we also use this room to do all our training in. So we run the funeral celebrant, and we now run a funeral director training. So bring up.
It strikes me that it really is like the old model of a funeral home.
Yes, I call this a funeral home. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, I want it to be. And the idea of this room was that when we go and see a family at home, we often end up in the kitchen. So when families come to meet us, we meet them in the kitchen. So you can have coffee brewing and biscuits, and we try and make this into a nice, but again a homely kind of a place. And I think people appreciate that. So when we're sitting around the table, we tend to be in the kitchen, or we put the settees in there around the fire in the winter, and we might sit in there and have coffee or tea in there. But again, we feed all our students here as well. So Hannah does all the cooking.
So say a little bit about your training.
So
your training program.
Yeah, we run 2 different training programs. We run a training to be a funeral celebrant, so the person to take the ceremony instead of a religious minister. And it's a diploma. It takes about 6 months to complete. People come here for 3 days, go away for 3 months, do distance learning, and then come back for another 2 days, and then probably take another 3 months to finish off all the work, so they have assignments to do. And
what sort of assignments?
They have assignments like describe how social trends are changing the way that funerals are in this country, discuss the purposes of a funeral and look at 2 funerals and how the purposes were either met or not met. They look at structure and flow of ceremony and ritual. And then they might make a resource pack of things that would help them to give a family a personal funeral. They do a marketing and business plan. They do presentation work. A whole range of different things. Teach a group to sing is one of their assignments. to sing a song, because a lot of people have a problem with singing, and we try and train them to a very high standard. And I think that the one thing that we bring in, which a lot of the other trainings don't bring in, is the importance of beauty and ritual in ceremony. So we're very strong on the ritual elements and about helping families to create rituals in their own lifestyle and culture. So they're their things, not our things. And the other main training that we do is that we do a modern funeral director training. So we give training in funeral arranging, so sitting down with the family to help them to arrange a funeral which is right for the person who's died, probably an individual, personal funeral. And care and management of the body, so it's about how to look after a body without using embalming. So we hardly ever use embalming in our funeral home. We just don't think it's necessary. So it's about the care and attention and the way that we look after bodies. So we're teaching that. And then we've got various other sort of shorter courses on bereavement and children, grief and bereavement, changing trends in funerals, managing the funeral process, things like that. So over the last couple of years, 17 people have set up their own funeral businesses as a result of having come on our courses, which to us is that is a good result. That's the new wave of funeral directors. So we've got a little office there. That's the worst part of the building from the point of view that we didn't have enough room to make an office that's really big enough. Sometimes we've got 4 people in there. So, but we manage to come out here and work sometimes. Well, we're not all in at the same time. So this is our back door. This is where we bring people in when we bring them into our care. And then we call this our medical room. It's a bit slightly warm at the moment because we've been having a condensation problem and we're trying to extract moisture. So this is the room in which we look after people, wash them, dress them, treat the body in whatever way it needs to help to preserve them until the funeral in a good state. And also our care and management of the body training takes place in here, or quite a lot of it does. So yeah, and then we've got a cool room. I don't really want to film this bit. So we've got a cupboard of things that we use. For example, we don't like suturing people's mouths. So if we want to keep somebody's mouth shut, we use this neck brace, which is very unobtrusive. You can usually hide it amongst clothes and things, and that will keep somebody's mouth shut without having to intervene with a needle and things. So we're trying to do things with as little intervention of the body as possible. You know, we want to look after them in the kind of way they were looked after before they died, and the thought of draining all their bodily fluids out and sticking a needle up and down their nose and things, it just doesn't sit well with us, so we tend not to do it. And then we've got various, when people come in, Hannah looks after them, our daughter, and the first thing you do is moisturise their face and their hands, so that their skin is nice and supple, and it helps to make their hands more supple, so when people come to visit them, their skin is looking looking nice and their hands are nicer to touch and things. And we rarely use makeup, but we use makeup if necessary. If somebody's got bruising, we change the colour and things, or if somebody, some people want some lippy on and some and things. So we've got one of these. A different kind of Viking boat. So this is one of the Viking boats made from wicker rather than the other one. So the ashes are put in this casket here, and the family, they can take the boat out to sea or onto a lake maybe, and fill it with combustible materials and set light to it, like a Viking burial. That's the idea anyway.
And are these made locally?
Yeah, they're made in Dorset by somebody who makes coffins. So we said to her, we get asked for a Viking burial so often, could you make us Viking shit?